Howdy folks, I hope you're well. Welcome. How bad is this weather tonight? I took the dogs out earlier. Even my big dog was getting blown around. And Gabby just got in and said, have you seen outside? And we got this quite heavy wooden furniture outside on the decking. And no word of a lie, a double kind of bench thing. It's a heavy thing. Like, you need two people to lift it. No word of a lie, that had blown over onto the table. It flipped up and blown over. The wind here, and I know for a fact that it's a lot worse up in Northern Ireland and Scotland, but it's bad down here, really bad, really terrible. So, thank you for joining. We've got 32 people watching in the RPI group. We've got 5 people watching on YouTube. We have 11 people watching on my personal timeline, and we have 19 people watching on the RPI page. So we've got 70 people watching. That's great. Thank you for watching. Please remember to share it. Let anybody know that you think might be interested in watching. We've got various things to talk about tonight. And we'll go through them. I'm going to be covering Blackpool. I'm going to give you an update on Peter Chappell's appeal that I mentioned last week. We're going to be talking about your goals for this year and a bunch more stuff as well. So let's say hello to people that are tuning in. We've got Errol Flynn, Barry Kinnear, Anthony Bracken, Brian Bolster, Andrew Bradley, Jonathan Nolan, Darren Aitken, John Rowland, Vincent McConnell. Vincent, I hope you're well. I haven't seen you, spoke to you for a while. I hope you're well. Amy Byrne, Peter Riley, Carl Fox, Thomas McKee, Michael Jones, John O'Brien. How are you, John? Keith Duggan, Calvin Young, Robbie Haydell, and more. So, let's say hello to people that have said actually hello to me. Scott Barron, you were the first. You were the first on the show, mate. Evening to you. Dean McKee, welcome to you. Jeffrey Abel, I hope you're well, Jeffrey. Mickey Essens watching on YouTube. Gary Tomlinson says, hello, evening everyone. Joshua's in. I am going to Blackpool show, Joshua. Yep, I will be there. I'll be talking in a little while about Blackpool. Mickey Essen, are you ready for Blackpool? I'll be ready tomorrow, Mickey. And what I mean by that is I'm waiting on a delivery to come tomorrow. When I've got the delivery, I'll be ready and I'll be happy. Chris Bennett's in. Evening to you, Chris. Derek Colligan, Thomas Smith, Natasha Talbot. Evening to everybody watching. Nice to see everybody, so many people in. James Martin, Dave Armstrong. All good. Peter Bell. Now I'm going to pronounce this one. Palomas, Minserares, Joel Quinn, Cordero. Hi from Spain. I hope I got that somewhere near. Right, but welcome from Spain. John O'Brien, always busy. I know the feeling, mate. I know you're always busy as well. So, let's crack on. If you've got anything you'd like to talk about, put it in the messages. My messages seem to be working tonight across all channels, all pages, all groups, all of that stuff. Just one quick thing. We haven't got commenting on RPI Live yet. So if you're watching on RPI Live, we haven't got commenting on that. It's something... There's been a bit of a technical nightmare, to be honest, but I am working on getting commenting on RPI Live. So you can go to rpilive.com and just watch this now. Watch it as we're live. You can't comment. I'm working on the commenting because I know some people want to be able to comment from RPI Live direct. So yeah, if you've got anything you'd like to talk about, specifically any questions as stuff comes up, let me know. I can see the comments. All good, all working well. Scott Barron says it's the first time he's husband first. Right. So yeah, what's going on with me stuff? Told you about my new dog. He's coming on really well. He's a Belgian Malinois. I'm looking forward to starting training with him first week of February. The house, this bloody house that you keep hearing about, the house is getting there. The plan is to move on the 25th, so the Saturday after Blackpool. That's the plan. And I'm reliably informed by the man that's in charge of getting it all done for us that it will happen. And said man's father is watching, so I'm sure it will. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. To be honest, it's been a long time coming, this house move. Get in the house. I've got a dedicated office. Get all the office sorted out. Then we can start dealing with outside and figure out what we're doing with all that. So looking forward to it. It'll be good. And it'll mean I have a internet connection that should be reliable and better than what I've got tonight, looking at what I've got. So anyway, we'll see. So all real busy stuff here. I attended a funeral on Friday. Mr. Brian Tomlinson, Gary Tomlinson's father's funeral. I'd never met Brian, which some might say is a bit perhaps weird to go to a man's funeral who you've never met. But in a weird way, I kind of felt like I knew him. After knowing Gary now and spending a lot of time with Gary and speaking to Gary pretty much every day, every other day, I feel like I kind of knew him, and I've heard many stories about him, and as a mark of respect to him, although I'd never met him, and as a support to Gary and a mark of respect to the family, I went, and it was a great funeral. And I said to Gary, I said, if I get half of the people at my funeral that Brian got, then I'll be happy, because the church was packed. And Gary did a great job reading the eulogy, and it was a struggle for him, but he did a great job, and it was as good as a funeral can be. It was good, and again, for me, funerals are about celebrating somebody's life, and that's what it was. But I tell you what, funerals make you look at your own life. It just reminds Brian Tomlinson was 75, which is not old now. It's not old age, and it, and Brian was the same age as my father is now, and it makes you look around. It makes you, it makes you look a lot. I'm 45 next month, and every time I go to a funeral, it makes you be a bit more, introspective as to things. So yeah, it was great. It was there was a lot of pigeon people there, and it was a I won't know, mate. That's the thing, Bill. I won't know, but I'd like to think I have the songs to play at my funeral already written out, and I won't have. I'm not against religion anyway. My father's played the church organ at the same church for 60 years, and is a Methodist. And I've got nothing against religion, but I'm not religious. When I have a funeral, it'll be a humanist funeral. I'm a registered paying member of humanists.org in the UK. Anyway, yeah, it was great, and it was great as much as a funeral can be. And like I say, it was great hearing more stories about Brian and Gary and the family. It was good. Right, so it's Blackpool show this weekend. Now, I many years ago used to go to Blackpool show every year. I haven't been to Blackpool show for 4 years. The last time I went to Blackpool show was 2016, and I went with Zandy. And I looked through the Homing World this week. They do the double edition, and there's a lot of sales there. So much so, if you're looking to buy pigeons, you've got to really figure your diary out as to where you're going and when you're going, because one, there's some crossover, and two, it's a busy schedule. I think if I'm right in saying, the first auctions are starting about 4 o'clock, or viewings 5 o'clock on the Friday, going all the way through Sunday afternoon. Busy times outside of the show, and then in the show, I looked at the Home in World show guide, and it's got a lot of, it's got, which is great. It's got a lot of auctions in the actual Winter Gardens itself, which is great. I think it's good that as many of the auctions as possible are in there, because it does keep people in and attract them back in to come to an auction. A lot of stands there, a couple of new ones I hadn't heard of, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can remember many years ago, I went to Blackpool. Well, actually, I went to Blackpool one of the times I went to Blackpool was 2007, and I took my old friend up from on the border of Wales, a guy called Alan Ward. And I met Alan through pigeons when I was 17 years old. He bought some Germain Imbrek pigeons off me, if you ever remember those. And I've known Alan, he's been a lifelong friend for many years, and he used to live in a lovely farm in Wales. But I picked Alan up. I went to Wales, picked him up, and then we went to Blackpool in 2007, shortly before my little time away. And I went up there, and it was so windy. I mean, I've never been to Blackpool where it's not windy. And given the wind down here in the Midlands, it's going to be brutal up there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As I say, I haven't been for 4 years. And I'm looking forward to it. We've got Zandy going up. Zandy's coming up with me. His girlfriend Ellie's coming up with us as well. They're going to be helping Gary out on the show stand for Who Dares Wins, and for this new DVD, which I'll talk about in a little while. And I'm looking forward to it. I've got a lot of people messaging. Again, Facebook, keep saying it. Can't keep up with messaging. Really sorry. I just so can't keep up. Try my best. But yeah, nice to see more. Nice to see more show auctions inside the show. I think when I went to the Kessel show in Germany, there was no outside auctions. Big show, no outside auctions, and it did die off. Come like late morning Sunday, lunchtime Sunday, it was quite dead. But it was a big concentration of people, and the thing with Blackpool is there's a whole, thousands of pigeon people in Blackpool. But from 5 o'clock Friday, there are auctions and sales everywhere. And I think the fact that there's some more auctions going on inside the Winter Gardens themselves is a really good thing. Really good thing. So I will be in Blackpool. I actually will be in Blackpool. I'm aiming to be in Blackpool by 4 o'clock. I actually wanted to be up there earlier. We normally try and what do you mean, Stephen? Don't know what you mean, mate. I actually want to be up there earlier than I'm probably going to be, but I'm aiming to be there mid-afternoon. I've got something we got to go and deal with in the morning, and I'm aiming to be there 4 o'clock-ish. I'm going to be there till Sunday late afternoon, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good. So if anybody would like to meet, I've got a few people that want to meet up. If you'd like to meet, I would only be too happy. I'm looking forward to meeting some names that I can finally put to actual faces rather than just social media faces. So a couple of things that have been mentioned on here. We'll catch up with this and then we'll go back to what I've got to talk about. What have we got? Vincent Connell, great idea about the RPRA or RPI funding 1 to 5 small 10-foot lofts. Yeah, that came up last week's show, Vincent. The idea that we could fund some, I don't know how many, but some small lofts, say 10-foot lofts, that essentially are loaned to somebody that wants to start. It was actually Joshua that came up with this, young Joshua that came up with the idea, which is a great idea. And they could be essentially loaned an entire starter kit ready to go. So there's no upfront investment or costs or anything. And it could be loaned to that person, say, for a year to see if they actually liked it and were dedicated and wanted to progress with the sport, so that they didn't have to put any money up. And that's a really good idea. And one of the extensions of that idea could then be, if they did want to continue, the setup of that loft could be done on an easy payment thing, so they can just pay X amount per month to then keep the loft. Because it makes no sense to have to take the loft down and then get them another loft if they want to continue. But it would make sense that you can have this loft and set up for a year, and if you want to carry on and you want to continue, which obviously we would hope everybody would want to do, but some wouldn't in reality, then it could just be they could pay monthly to pay off the loft, and then you could just keep cycling more lofts from that payment. And that's a really good idea, which I think is something that could be done through the Pigeon Sport Future Foundation, Vincent. And it kind of fits in with the community loft idea as well. You could do the same for a community loft. If you've got a couple of people together, like if you take the idea of that starter idea, maybe you could find a couple of people in the same area that wanted to do a community loft together. Again, it's time, it's money, it's dedication. But I like the idea of people going into partnerships, or 2, 3, 4 people working together on the same loft, because ultimately it makes it a lot easier for people. Less time constraints and what have you. Bill Buxton's in watching, thank you. Peter Bell says, going to Blackpool to see old and new friends and have a chat about one-off races and have a bit of banter. John O'Brien, any thoughts on my own loft when I move in? No, not at the moment, John. If I'm on it, I'm still backward and forward. I have a concrete structure that I'm looking to convert some of. That's what my plan is at the moment. Thomas, no, I'm not going to race myself. I haven't got the time. I'll be focusing on my loft races, and then we'll see what happens with Zandy. Mickey Essen, a lot more auctions in the show this year. Absolutely. Mark Thompson says, hey up, Rob, the Rob Borrow auction's going great. Thanks for the shout out. No problem. I'll always help in any way I can. Joshua says there's 30, 40 mile an hour winds in Blackpool scheduled. Greg O'Reilly says hello. Sorry, Stephen, that you don't like the format, general chit chat. It's not. I don't want it to be like, oh, we've got 5 minutes on this. We talk about whatever people want to talk about. And if anybody wants to talk about anything specific, then they can tell us. I'm not really much of a bar guy, Glenn McCardle, but I hope to meet you. Charlie Grech, how you doing? Kevin Keenan says, do you think some fanciers were holding back birds for sale since they were selling in other venues? Maybe. I did see a bit of a crossover there. Peter Dodd says, great idea, you should try not to focus on schools. Yeah, I don't think schools should be the only focus. Schools are a relevant thing, they're a relevant thing. But like we said last week, or the week before, maybe no, it was last week, I think the target market for bringing new people in is not necessarily schools or school kids. 30, 40, 50 year old people. They're a bit more settled in life, maybe not so stressed, maybe have a little bit more spare money. They're, I think, the target market. And then if you can make that community thing, then it makes it a lot easier for people. Imagine a partnership, a normal partnership, racing partnership, but imagine 2, 3 or 4 people to get together. And say somebody wants to get going, we arrange it online where, hey, you know, Richard wants to start. Is there anybody else that would like to start with him? And do the community loft idea, do the start setup thing. I think it's a good thing. Yeah, I do. So we'll see, but it's definitely something I like the idea of, and I think should be developed more. And I'm hoping to meet, if I can catch him, Ian Evans at Blackpool, to catch up with him, because I know he lost his father as well, which is very sad. But hopefully I can catch up with him. Declan Wilson says roll on Blackpool. I'm just reading, I can't multitask. He said Stephen said picked up the Home and Well and see the sales. 1/3 of the book is sales and ads. Well, if you look at the Blackpool special, it's all sales and ads, and that's 170 pages, I think, plus then 139 pages the other one. But that's just the season. That's the whole. You know, that's the season. Definitely seems to be more sales. But that's just the general indication of the market. More sales, more vendors, and then the key is there more buyers? And if there is more buyers, are they going to fetch the money? You know? Are they going to fetch the money? Ian John Platt. Nice to hear from you, Ian. Tons of sales from lofts who don't race and just breed for Blackpool. Paper pigeons from paper pigeons, no birds, seem race for sale. Yeah, I heard somebody commenting on that on Facebook today. It is what it is, folks. We all have the ability to decide if we are going to buy said pigeons or not. Free economy, free market, buy, don't buy. I think the interesting thing will be is, and I intend to go to a few sales because I want to kind of gauge the market. I think the interesting thing will be what price some of these pigeons go for. Now, you're always going to get the stars of the show. I saw one auction, which was a very interesting auction coming up, where there was 3 combine winners coming up in the auction. Now, that's my kind of auction. Like, there's 3 combine winners. I didn't read the full details, but the fact that they're combine winners, that's attractive. It'd be interesting to see what kind of money those birds go for, as opposed to some of the big name birds, you know. But what will be really interesting, like I said, is you've got thousands of pigeons for sale over many auctions, and what the average price of those pigeons will be across each auction, because ultimately there is a lot of stock for sale and there's only a finite amount of money. And I think one of the sales is online as well, so essentially it's a captive market of people that are in Blackpool at the time. I don't think there's any online auctions. I may be wrong. Dual online auctions, maybe, I'm not sure, we'll see. But yeah, Vincent McConnell, Ian Evans, forward thinking Mark, you two brainstorm together. Excuse me, I have a lot of time for Ian Evans, like I've said before, and I'll say again. My worry is that he will not be able to do what he wants to do. And if I was him, that would start peeing me off very quick. To be forward thinking, to be thinking how he thinks, but not be able to actually get that much pushed through and done. I couldn't do it. I could not do that job, because I would feel like I'm banging my head against a brick wall. But yeah, you're right. He's a forward-thinking guy. but he needs the freedom to be able to go and do this stuff and not have all this red tape and long drawn out process and procedures. Stephen, why money? Mate, we could have this debate going backward and forward for weeks. Peter Bell, no sound. You seem like frozen. I don't know, Peter. I'm watching myself and hearing myself on my phone, and I can hear me. So it probably is your end, Peter, because my internet's not that great, if I'm honest. But I am watching and hearing myself, so I think it might be your end, mate. Thank you to the 82 people watching. That's great. Halfway in. Love it. Thank you for those that have shared as well. Look, we can have the debate about money in the sport as much as you want. But here's the deal. Times are changing. Simple as that. It's like, I've referred to it once in a while. It's like I wrote in my first British Homing World editorial that I put out in March last year. And one of the first things I said is there's nothing wrong with money. There seems to be an anti-money thing. I still insist, and I'm like a broken record, money is good for this sport. Nobody can survive without money, for a start. Money is good. Businesses coming in is good. People pumping money into this sport is good. Now that doesn't mean that a back garden normal flyer that wants to just fly his or her pigeons into their back garden and race on a competitive club level or fed level can't do that. I'm not, and I'd still defy anybody to say that money ruins the sport. I only think money enhances it. And let's look at the cold hard facts here. The numbers are going like that. Something's needed, and I don't think money's ruining it. I think if anything, it can help it. And I think there's bigger issues at play that are harming things more. I haven't got the time to be on Facebook as much as I used to be. Every time I am on Facebook, I only just saw it on a group today, or a page. There'll be no bullying tolerated in this group or page, whatever it was. People having to put that out. I've had to do it as well in my group. Bigger issues at hand, and bigger stakes are higher because of things like this. And as, again, broken record, apologise. Based on the one-off races that I've covered so far, very normal, not doing them down, but very normal back garden flyers have won those races, the finals of those races. And prior to those pigeons being entered, they were £50 pigeons. And they competed against 500 or £1,000 in some cases pigeons, based on paper. So I don't think it's an issue. I think it actually is needed. I'll be interested when I go to Blackpool to see what the makeup of the whole show is. Because like I say, the last time I was there was 2016. And in 2016, I thought, one-off races, international, overseas one-off races are just coming in now. You can see it happening. And I knew it was going to happen, but I could see it happening. And sure enough, 4 years on, it's happened. Big time. And I don't think money's a problem, an issue. I don't think it's an issue to sport. I don't think it can harm the sport any more than all the other issues the sport's got. I think it can only help. And it shouldn't dissuade anybody from competing. And then again, I'll go on to say about the leagues idea. There should be leagues. There should be racing leagues. People come in on League 3 or 4, work their way up, just like football works. So there we go. let's read some comments. I'm not getting involved in comments between each other. I shall fast forward past them. Carl Ford says, I've done well with paper pigeons in Gary's Who Dares wins one-off race, and the birds come from Mick Collins. There you go, Carl. Well done, mate. That's a name of pigeons you wouldn't mind getting pigeons from, eh? Terry Garbett said, I started 2 years ago, and it was a huge struggle, but managed it and got my birds gifted, which was I'm grateful for. And really had bad illness last year, and it killed most of my pigeons. I got sorted out. Now I'm back on straight and narrow. Thank good to people of sport. Listen, Terry, you know what? That's the great thing. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. There's some great people in the sport. You know? A large percentage of people are great in this sport. Some are not. That's probably a reflection of society in general and people in general. It just happens, I think it's just that some of the more negative people are more polarizing and are more louder than normal. But yeah, there's some great people in the sport. Talking of which, let me give you an update. Great segue there, Terry, and thank you for watching. And I'm glad you're 2 years in and you're still there. And when it comes to illness or anything, the guy watching this called Gary Tomlinson will help you out with any illnesses you've got or any questions you've got. Segued into a quick update on what we talked about last week. Peter Chappelle had 8 Bucharest High Flyers decapitated in his loft on an allotment up in Hartlepool. A big thank you to people that helped me with this. To cut long story short, I've sourced some, and he will be getting 8 new. He'll be getting 4 pair of new high flyers. So thank you to everybody that helped me source them. I've spoken to the best guy in the country that has these Budapest high flyers, and Peter will be getting 4 pair as soon as we can technically sort it out. And again, thank you to everybody. And again, you know, that's what this is about as well. This sport, this hobby, there are some great people there. Kevin Frail, work time. Bye. Sorry, Kevin. You have to watch the catch up, mate. Yeah, now, Ian, here's an interesting one. Pure this, pure that. But when you look at it, the pedigree says Vences have pigeons from different strains, lofts, etc. Pure bulk this. I remember Bush Arts when the greatest mishmash ever. There's no such thing as a purebred pigeon, eh, John? Ian? It's like I've said months ago. What's a strain? What's a name of a strain? All it is the last guy that flew those pigeons well. That's all it is. But to a degree, that's marketing. And that's branding. And like I've been saying before, in the UK and Ireland, people don't brand their own pigeons. You know, it's Joe Bloggs with that strain or whatever. No, Joe Bloggs, if he's winning with them, they're Joe Bloggs' pigeons. I'm starting to race Joe Bloggs' pigeons because I've made that strain. There's no such thing as a purebred pigeon. No, nothing. All of the top big winners have got mix and matches of everything in them. It's just the last guy that flew them. That's all it is. That becomes the name because, you know, Dirk Vanderbilt flew pigeons well, and he got them from here, there, and everywhere. But they become the Vanderbilts, the latest thing. That's branding and marketing. Now, there's an argument that actually I've said again, in the UK and Ireland, we should be doing more of that. We should be, if you've raced your pigeons well, you should call them your pigeons, not what where you bought them from a generation or two ago. You know, no such thing as a purebred pigeon. Mickey Essen, it's a British thing. We want pure and inbred to hell, but the top continental men swap pigeons amongst themselves, constantly hybrid. Yeah, the thing with hybrids is you see a little bit of it. Like there's some co-breeding going on. Not many people over here are doing it. Why? Because pigeon flyers don't want to share their birds. They want to keep them to themselves. Like Ian's just said. All the top continental men swap their pigeons amongst themselves. They're a mishmash of everything, but it's that hybrid vigour, like Ian's just said, that makes it work. And this is a bigger thing. This is a... We've still got 85 people listening to me slightly rant. This is a bigger thing of a mentality shift that's got to happen. It's got to happen. So many things have got to happen. If you know a guy, not locally racing to you, that's doing well, and you've got really good birds, do a deal with him. Swap some pigeons for a season. You know, don't go out and buy. Find somebody that you want to do. Good idea for a website. I've got this. I want to co-breed with that. Good idea for a little thing to do. People can then start doing sharing and swaps and that stuff. Everybody on the continent does it. I'll go and borrow that cock or that hen for a year. I'll give you one of mine. It's a mentality shift, intrinsic, that has got to shift in so many ways. As we currently are in 2020, if something radically doesn't happen, or nothing major happens in this sport in the UK and Ireland to a degree, although Ireland in areas is really strong. In the UK and Ireland, if this sport does not shift in its focus, its mentality, its hierarchical structure, and its people's mentality, and this bullying BS and this intimidation crap and people stealing pigeons. I know there's always idiots and horrible people everywhere in life, but there seems to be more thefts going on. Security is more of an issue. If all of these things don't get addressed and we see a fundamental shift within the next 10 years, by 2030 this sport will be dead on its arse outside of big national races and one-off races. Categoric. You look at the numbers 10 years ago and 10 years before that, this sport will be dead on its arse. And if it keeps going like it is, and things don't change like it is, you won't get people like Ian Evans wanting to even think about touching it to change. Won't happen. And people will start giving up. You have to be a strong-willed character to even try and do anything radical or different in this game. I'm living proof. If I wasn't so strong, I'd have given up by now. I made a fundamental decision in October. I'd said I was doing it before, but I didn't actually really mean it. But in October, I made a fundamental decision that I was not caring about what anybody said anymore. Either like it or you don't. There'll be people on here watching now. The 89 people we've now got watching. There'll be some people on here watching it just to not like me. Welcome. You're welcome. But ultimately, a big portion of the 80 some odd people watching me are going to like what I'm trying to do and what I'm about. I mean, they're free to watch it, and people that don't like me are free to watch it, whatever. Big fundamental, what I'm saying, I'm not making about me. By October time, if I was a different type of person, I'm like, you know what, screw this, I'm done. With all the rubbish and hassle I was getting. Now, I'm not that type of person. In fact, it just spurs me on even more. But I did care what some people were saying. And not anymore. I'm month 3 into really not caring. Genuinely not caring. It's a very freedom thing. It's a big transformational thing. And if you currently care what people say about you in this sport, otherwise, trust me. Try not to. A great book for you to read. Which I'll put a link in afterwards because I can't swear on it, but it's a really good book. But a fundamental shift's got to happen in the next 10 years, else we are dead in the water. And you think the world now in 2020 is advanced and changed from 20 years ago? You wait till 2030, another 10 years. Is Moore's law or something? Like technology, everything's just going to get bigger, bigger, bigger. And this technology is supposed to be making our lives easier and less stressed and more relaxed and work less. Forget it. It's going to go the other way. 10 years is the maximum. Some people say, oh, within 5 years. I think 10 years is realistic. There's got to be a fundamental shift in 10 years. If not, I think... Some people say we're past the point of no return now. I don't think we are. I don't think we are. Mickey Brown, can we identify those pumping money into the sport? I don't think you can. I'm pumping as much time as I can and some money, because everything I'm doing costs time or money, but not major money in. No, not pumping money in. But it does need businesses to pump investment in. And the question is how you create a win-win. See, if you bring business in, you've got to create a win for a business. But, you know, like we may not get time to talk about it, but I'm going through my head what I'm doing with various things within RPI. And I've had a lot of people say you should really focus on the marketing and the branding and helping people do that, because it elevates them. You're good at it, you're natural at it, all that stuff. And I'm going through a whole bunch of things. But Mickey, it's an interesting. If you go into Blackpool, I'd love to speak to you more, because we really would be a chat that I would genuinely love to have. Many questions, too many for an hour slot. And good evening, Tubil, Valentin. Good luck, Alan Knowles. Hello, Alan. I actually spoke earlier about a post you made in a page or a group. That's your post that I was referencing. Mickey Hassan, yeah, we got him new birds. I need to call him actually and tell him, but we got it sorted out. Yeah, and that's what we got to do. You know, I had people offering all kinds of high flyers bird. A good friend of mine here in Ashby is one of the best Iranian high flying breeders, high flying pigeon breeders in the UK. He's actually got about 300 of them, and he offered them some as well. Alan Knowles, I'm always trying to help out anyway I can. So much paid new member fees in 2020. There you go, mate. That's what we need. Yeah, there's no purebred. You're right, Stephen. There's no purebred. Yes, the man's last name. Absolutely. All crosses, indeed, Carl. John Moran, thank you. Yeah, they pair national winners to national winners, or sons and daughters. Oh, absolutely. Modern day pigeons, Gary says. A few years ago, it was Herman Coisters. Next, it was the Vanderbilks. Yet the main three lost, which imported the Valks, have sold out. Why? That's the next modern day pigeon coming into UK sport. What is the next day modern day pigeon? But again, it's just a neat. It's the last geezer that flew them well. It's the geezer in Holland or Belgium that smashes it this year. Will be the next big thing. It's just the name of the guy. Where will he have his birds from? Here, there, and everywhere. It would be nice to think that a lot of his pigeons come from an unknown, but the reality is they probably won't. Carl Ford says, me. Seems like Gary, they bred off them before, they sold them and bought a new round off the man before they sell a new. Yeah, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Mick Hessian says, do we need a change at the top level to go forward in the UK with pigeon racing? Yeah, absolutely. Categorically. Fundamental root and branch change at the top level. But not Ian Evans. Ian Evans needs to stay. But Ian Evans needs, like I said earlier, the ability to do what he wants within reason and make them changes happen and not be blocked by people and red tape and people that are living in the dark ages. Yeah, it needs a fundamental root and branch change. Here in the States, Mike Jett says, "How you doing, Mike?" In the States here, Mike says, "I don't know of anyone that wins so many so-called purebred pigeons. Winners do outcrosses with good performance lines. No one here cares about having purebreds." You like me, Mark. You like me, Mike. Thank you, mate. Somebody likes me. Steve says, "I seen a post in the NEHU. I think it had introduced any age racing, so it means instead of having 600 old birds, you'd have 1,500 old and young birds all season long. Great move for them." Gary says, "I know a man which I won't name, which was in Dirk Vanderbilt's loft 10 years ago. Dirk only had a 10 by 8 stock loft. So where have they all come from?" Chris Bennett says, "Did you ever find out, Mark, who was reporting the Facebook videos?" No, never found out, mate. Could be one of about 24, maybe even more people. It is what it is. Que sera, sera. Don't care anymore. I mean, I'll care if people keep doing it, but like I've said earlier, howdy, folks. Let me just share this out now. Power all of the... I got a real bad connection as well. I think this weather has really, really affected things badly. And as a result, I can't use the computer properly for the internet. And it's a bit of a nightmare. Anyway, I'll finish off now. There's about 25 people watching, but apologies to those that didn't catch this because of the problems. We were going well as well. Like I said earlier, I can't wait to move. Really looking forward to moving. Right, so let's finish off by saying what we were saying. I can't remember where we were because I've just been running around like a headless chicken trying to sort the electricity out. Yes, so anyway, let's that's twice different RCDs. It's just a nightmare. As I say, when we have a storm or power issue, bad weather, this house doesn't like it. Hence why I can't. Hopefully 2 weeks tonight, the show will be from my new house. If the signal's gone again, that is either me and my bad signal because of the storm, because I'm just going off. I'm just going off my phone now, and yeah, it's a nightmare. Right, so let me tell you about what's going on quickly. We'll wrap this up, but I want to tell you a couple of things that's going on. We currently have a competition in the RPI Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Racing Pigeon International. There's a competition going on there. You'll see it pinned to the top. Just invite a few people when you're in the competition to win an RPI, exclusive RPI t-shirt. What do you want to see RPI and myself covering at Blackpool? Is there anything specific you would like to see us covering? If there is, let us know. I say we've got Zandy up there, his girlfriend's up there, I'm there, together with Gary on his Who Dares Win stand. So if there's anything specific you would like to see RPI cover live from Blackpool, then let me know, and I will do my best to see if it's possible for us to cover that. That's what RPI Live is about. I'm going to wait for your goals next year because I had a lot of people. I had like 80 responses in our Facebook group about people's goals, and I can't do that. It's too well. My screen's not working properly, so I shall do that. I shall do that next week, and I shall also talk to you more about my plans for RPI next week as well. Now, I can't show you the cover. I was going to be showing you the cover in my fancy little production setup, but now seems fancy. Now I can't do anything because I'm back old school on my phone. I can't show you the cover, but on Saturday at Blackpool Show, we are launching, RPI together with Gary Tomlinson are launching a brand new DVD. And it's the Ultimate Widowhood System. And it's a DVD. It's about an hour and 10 minutes, just under an hour and 10 minutes, of Gary telling you everything there is to know about racing widowhood. And nothing's left out at all. So I'd love to be able to show you the cover. I actually got the DVDs arriving tomorrow, and I was going to show you a cover with my thing online, but it's coming out. It's launching on Saturday. And we're going to be doing a show special for it, special price at the show. But I wanted to do for you guys, especially now after you've bothered to tune back into me, this is extra special bonus. In fact, because of the problems and for those loyal people that care to bother to tune back in, if you share this video, and that's a little bit difficult because actually people would have shared the previous one. We'll go with it and see how it goes. To win a copy of this DVD from Gary, all you got to do is just share this video. Anybody that shares it will be in the raffle, and we'll just randomly pick somebody that shared it, and you'll win a copy of the brand new DVD coming out from Gary. It's Who Knows Wins, it's called. It's the Ultimate Widowhood System. And it's coming out, and it's launching on Saturday. And it's like I said, it's everything Gary knows about racing widowhood. Because the great thing about Gary is he doesn't race competitive anymore. He runs a one-off race, Who Dares Wins, but he doesn't have anything to hide anymore. So we're going to be doing that and launching it at Blackpool. So if you would like to be in the chance to win a copy of it, just simply share this video at least once, and sure enough, you'll be in the draw, and I'll pick somebody out on, let's say I'll pick somebody out tomorrow evening. So I'll pick somebody out 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, whoever shared it. Now, here's the thing. I believe in trying to up the game. By the way, I'm really grateful to everybody that has shared it, because we're already back to 83 people watching it. 79 people, just about 80 people watching it, which is the exact amount of people watching it we had before my 2 power issues. So thank you to that. Here's the thing with this DVD, right? It's not just a normal DVD for a couple of reasons. One, it's Gary. Remember, Gary's won hundreds of first prizes in his time. And it's him sharing absolutely everything he knows, including some of the vitamins, supplements, medication, everything there is to know, he is sharing in this DVD about widowhood. Now, we've had a few people asking if he's going to be doing one about racing hens, and he is, down the line. So it's not a normal DVD in that absolutely everything he knows is in there. But to even up the game even more, and like I said on one of the little flyers we're doing for it, I set up RPI to up the game, up the level, think differently. My mind thinks differently anyway, but to up that level, right? And I said to Gary, I said, the thing is, what you've given in this video is there's so much. There's a lot of information, right? So if I was watching it, I would have questions. I would have a lot of questions watching this video. So I said to Gary, I said, you know what? Imagine somebody has bought the video or the DVD, because the video will be online as well for people that are overseas. Oh, and by the way, we're going to be translating the captions of the video, because that's something else. We have a few people that tune into my stuff and RPI stuff who are deaf. So this video, it's another thing that's different. The video is captioned throughout in English. And also we're going to be captioning it and translating it into 12 different languages. Again, nobody does that. But here's something else nobody does. So imagine you've bought the video, you've invested in it, you've invested in your education, and you've watched it and you've got a load of questions. Who else puts out a video, a DVD for sale that says, listen, if you've bought the video, you can go to a website and ask me any question as a result of that video, and I will answer any question you've got. That's what we're doing. So if you get the DVD or the video, you can ask Gary anything about racing widowhood cocks in any way, shape or form for however long you want. No limited to one question or anything like that. You can ask him as many questions as you want about it. That's what we're doing to make it different. We're also going to be putting a book out as well, because some people like to be able to have sheets to read and, you know, like a diary. We're going to be doing that. We haven't managed to get that done in time, but yeah, so that's what we're doing. We're doing it to be different. You'll be able to go to a website specifically for Gary's videos, DVDs, and you can go in and you can just register for free to register, and you can go and ask Gary as many questions as you want. The show price is £20 for Blackpool show weekend only, and then it'll be 25. Now, what you're doing for 20 quid at Blackpool or 25 quid outside after Blackpool is you've got the ability to be able to ask Gary, like I said, any question at all about racing widow cocks, and he will answer it personally. And that's the difference we're doing. And any other the DVDs that we're putting out, it'll be exactly the same as well. So you're buying much more than just the DVD. And that's what you've got to do to be different. The ability to be able to think differently and help people more. Ultimately, that's what it's doing. And that's what we're doing. So yeah. So we're launching it. If you've shared this video, you're in the draw. I'll pick one out tomorrow around 8 o'clock. And that's that. I've got a lot more on the list to talk to you about, but it's 9:15, so I'm going to wrap it up now soon. Let me see some questions. Lots of people shared. Thank you to everybody that shared. I won't do I'll tell you what, I will do the draw online tomorrow. I'll just scroll the screen and we'll pick one out, Douglas Dobson, and I'll do a quick live. It'll only be a 5-minute thing tomorrow to pick it out. It'll be about 8 o'clock, not dead on, but it'll be around 8. Thank you to everybody that shared it. Thank you. Chris Deegan, I'm glad you like the idea, Chris. I think it's that difference. Like I said, you know, you're not just buying a DVD, you're buying the ability to ask any questions, and that's what we're about. We're about changing the way. Big promotion for Gary beyond what anybody could ask for. Don't get what you mean, Stephen. I really don't. I'm working with Gary on the DVD, and Gary has got me to market his race, Stephen, so I'm not quite sure what you mean. Don't know. Yeah, we got like 97 people watching, 91 now. Thank you. It's the ultimate widowhood system, PJ. Thank you to everybody else that's watching in. We've got people still tuning in. Every video is a promotion advert. What? So the stuff we talked about, Stephen. See, do I even engage in this conversation or not? No, I don't. Gary Tomlinson, Andrew. Ingo, I hope you're well, mate. I hope you're well. So next week I'm going to be talking more about what else are we going to be talking about? Your goals for 2020, what I'm going to be doing 2020, my diary, going some of the things I'm looking to do events wise. So what, Stephen? One Gary's a friend of mine and he's a client of mine. So what? And people wonder why. Anyway, I look forward to seeing everybody who's going to Blackpool. I did see a question come in before my power cut, saying where I'm going to be. I'm kind of floating around. There's various things I've got to do, various people I've got to go, and there's a couple of sales I want to go and look at. But I will be around the Who Dares Win stand. Yeah, Stephen, I'm glad you like the idea. Yeah, you're always looking for answers and explanations after reading or watching. Exactly. And the ability to go and ask those questions is what I thought was a really good idea. Listen, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you to everybody that's watching. Most people. I look forward to meeting you. If you're at Blackpool, come and say hello. It's weird meeting everybody because you see faces, but you don't initially recognize them when you meet them face to face. So I would love to meet as many people that watch this show as possible. Apologies again for the nightmare technical issues. As I say, 2 weeks, all being well, 2 weeks from the new office, dedicated office, and we won't have so many issues. Thank you, everybody. And I will catch you next week, 8 o'clock, Monday evening, for RPI Live. And thank you to the 91 people still watching. Much appreciated. After 3 attempts, still 94 people now are watching, which is great. Have a good night, everybody. Be lucky. Be happy. Catch you soon.